What if I told you that the single skill you've built your entire real estate career around could become completely useless almost overnight? We've watched it happen before, and right now, the market is quietly setting the stage for it to happen again. Interest rates spiked, traditional financing tightened, and suddenly, the agents and investors who only knew one way to close a deal were standing at the altar with no groom in sight. The buyers evaporated, the wholesalers couldn't find cash buyers, and the listing agents were refreshing their Zillow dashboards like it was a slot machine that stopped paying out. Think of your transaction toolkit like a Swiss Army knife. If you only ever use the blade, you're going to look pretty silly when you need a corkscrew. The market doesn't care about your specialization. It cares about your adaptability. And right now, adaptability is the most underpriced asset in this entire industry. A few years ago, the headlines were electric bidding wars, zero down offers, property selling before the sign hit the yard. Now we're in a slower, choppier environment where the pros who figured out owner financing, subject to deals, and creative seller terms are quietly eating everyone else's lunch while the rest of the room argues about commission lawsuits. The psychological whiplash is real. You built a system, it worked, and now you're watching it stall like a car in a snowbank and wondering if you're the problem. Experts like Grant Cardone and Pace Morby have been screaming about creative finance for years. And even the skeptics are starting to reluctantly Google subject to real estate at 2 in the morning. Here's the thing about real estate cycles. They are brutally predictable in hindsight and absolutely maddening in real time. Every single downturn in the last 50 years eventually rewarded the people who expanded their skill set instead of contracting in fear. And this one will be no different. I remember talking to an agent in 2009 who said she pivoted to short sales when everything else dried up, made more money than her peak years, and never looked back. That's not luck. That's toolkit expansion in action. Meanwhile, her colleagues were at home stress eating, waiting for the market to go back to normal, which, spoiler alert, it never really does. Real estate runs in cycles, the way fashion does. Everything comes back around, just slightly uglier and more expensive. The investors and agents who understand land entitlement, ground-up development, commercial conversions, and cross-market sales aren't smarter than you. They just refuse to be one-trick ponies. Here's a misconception we need to kill right now. Creative finance isn't shady, it isn't a loophole, and it isn't just for desperate sellers. Owner financing and subject to deals are legitimate, time-tested tools that have been used by sophisticated investors for decades. And the only reason they feel exotic is because your real estate school didn't teach them. Another myth worth demolishing is that you need to master everything at once, because that's the fastest way to master nothing. Pick one alternative strategy. Maybe it's seller financing, maybe it's commercial conversions. Get one deal done with it, and let that experience teach you more than any course ever will. The historical lesson here is simple and uncomfortable. The top earners in any market cycle are almost never the people who were the best at the last cycle's dominant strategy. They're the ones who stayed curious, took calculated risks, and kept their risk-adjusted position sizes disciplined so one bad experiment didn't blow up the whole portfolio. You don't need to wholesale, flip, develop, convert, and entitle land all at the same time. That's a breakdown, not a strategy. What you need is one primary model and 2 to 3 backup plays you understand well enough to execute when your primary gets constrained. The irony here is almost poetic. The agents who swore they'd never do investor stuff are now the ones calling investors asking how to structure a deal their bank finance buyer can't close. And the wholesalers who laughed at subject to deals are now in Facebook groups desperately asking how to find cash buyers because their entire pipeline dried up. Discipline, sizing, and consistency will outlast conviction, timing, and market prediction every single time. This is the unsexy truth that separates the people still in the game after 20 years from the ones who had one great run and disappeared. The goal isn't to be the best at one thing. It's to be dangerous enough across multiple strategies that no market condition can fully bench you. We're genuinely comfortable with whatever the market does next. A downturn creates distressed sellers perfect for creative finance. A recovery rewards the developers and converters, and a flat market belongs to whoever can manufacture margin through structure rather than appreciation. The real estate professionals who build wide toolkits aren't betting on one outcome. They're hedging across all of them, like the market is a weather forecast and they packed for every season. Whether you're an agent, an investor, or someone still deciding which lane to be in, the move right now is expansion, not retreat, not specialization, tunnel vision, and definitely not waiting for your one method to magically start working again. The market is handing you an engraved invitation to level up, and the only question is whether you're going to RSVP. And if you're ready to start exploring these strategies, whether that's real estate investing, home contracting work, or finding the right lenders to make your next deal happen, check out our links in the description below, and let's get you moving.